Hello, metalheads! You have reached the Great Metal Debate Podcast. I am Gom Thog, and on the other end of the Skype hotline is my partner, Brian. Brian, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Gom Thog?
Doing well, man. Just got done listening to your interview with the one, the only Eddy Levitsky of Hollow, Carchaos, and Bane, three incredible Canadian heavy metal bands.
Edward was a great interview. I'm sure you're going to love what he has to talk about. He has a definite style all his own, and he talks a lot about Hollow and Carchaos both. So it's going to be great to hear. So let's take a listen to Mr. Eddy Levitsky. Tonight we have Mr. Eddy Levitsky. Did I say that right, Eddie?
Yes, you did.
Of Hollow and Carchaos fame. Now, Eddie, welcome to the Great Metal Debate Podcast. It's cool of you to join us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
It's always a thrill to talk to someone who you see and hear playing the music that you love. Like I said, I was banging it out to the landscape just yesterday and also today. Excellent song, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Now, what we're going to do, Eddie, if we can, we're going to talk about the metal, just the metal music and the bass playing in general, and then we're going to talk about your band specifics. Is that cool?
That's cool. That's cool.
All right. Now, you are originally from Uzbekistan, is that correct?
I am, actually. My passport is a legit Soviet Union passport. I was born in what's called now Uzbekistan, but back in the day, it was the Union. I am literally from Mother Russia.
I read that you spoke 3 languages, French, Russian, and English. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks. I try.
So can you tell us your story about how you got here? Just a quick version. I don't need background details or anything. Just tell us how you got here and started rocking.
Well, I got here while I was 5 years old. We went through Israel before coming in here. My dad was always a avid, music fan, and he was actually the person that showed me metal. He showed me Rammstein. He showed me Cannibal Corpse. I was too young to understand any of that stuff, but I grew up in that environment, so I'm very lucky to have parents that supported me all these years. So one thing led to another. I picked up an instrument. I'm a guitar player first and foremost, and like I said, one thing led to another, and I started rocking out in a couple of bands. Initially, Hollow being my baby. I've had it since high school years. Right. Joined Carchaos a little bit over a year ago. I'm also in another band called Bane. It's a Serbian band that moved into Montreal. They reestablished here, and they needed musicians, so I joined up.
Excellent. Very cool. So Dad taught you metal, as all good dads should. Anything else we need to know about you personally before we move on, Eddie?
Well, I'm a very tall, handsome man. I don't know.
I am the exact opposite of that, so I have no idea what you're talking about. But that's another podcast. We'll move on to some questions.
Go ahead.
Now, Eddie, I always start out with this question. I haven't met too many headbangers who don't have one of these. What was your moment, Eddie? That moment of epiphany, or that sort of semi-religious moment when you knew that this was going to be your muse? The moment you decided you're going to listen to and talk about and make this type of music for, at least the next portion of your life.
Well, my moment is actually, I remember it very clearly. I remember going to a couple of shows. I was still soul searching, looking to, join a clique, I guess, be someone. Yeah. And I remember going to a hard rock show, and I went to Summer Sanitarium, it was called. There was Linkin Park, Metallica, Mudvayne, Limp Bizkit. It was a weird lineup, but I enjoyed the show thoroughly. And I didn't know if I enjoyed all the music. If I remember correctly, I used to go for Linkin Park of all those bands, for shame.
Yeah, some of the mainline metal, hard rock, sort of radio rock, but that's cool. Yeah. Well, that kind of leads me. Go ahead.
Yeah, and well, the moment that you wanted to know is that I remember being in my first mosh pit there, and I was being pushed. I didn't understand what the hell was going on, but I noticed that as soon as you fall, there's a million hands trying to pick you up, and that feeling of togetherness, that's the one thing that made me, feel part of something, feel part of the KISS Army feeling,
Yeah, the metal army. I love that feeling myself. Now, I hate asking questions that every other interviewer asks, but I think it's an important one. I think this is a really important one. Now, who were your musical influences growing up? You talked about Linkin Park, and you didn't really enjoy that later on, but who did you really get into early?
Like I said, I grew up in a really weird environment. My dad listened to everything from Uriah Heep to I don't know, Whitesnake to Cannibal Corpse to Metallica, and I grew up in that. But that was my dad's music, mentally that's what
Yeah.
it was. So I tried discovering my own thing, and I fell in love with a band called Iced Earth.
Oh
And
yeah,
that is
love
the
that.
one band that really showed me, that music can be melodic, it could be heavy, it could, it had everything that basically composes most of my compositions.
Iced Earth is a great band. They have the new record out with Stu Block that's just awesome.
Yeah, picked up
Another
Babylon.
great Canadian vocalist there. Yeah, so Iced Earth, that's great. And they're one of our favorites on the podcast here. Um,
As they
so
should be.
yes, they should be. I agree. I agree. So what do you see as your role as a bass player in metal music, Eddie? Is it the spice, the backbone, the heart? Is it the star of the band? What do you see your bass playing doing for your bands and for your songs?
I believe in one thing. I started out as a guitar player. I used to play trumpet even before then. Like I said, lots of soul searching, looking through,
Right.
instruments and stuff like that. Um, in my honest opinion, a good bass player is someone who plays a plethora of different instruments, because to understand exactly what the bass does, it supports a band, yes, but you also have to play with frequencies. You have to know where you can show off, where you can, do your little tapping thing. It's very easy to go 100 miles an hour and play a million notes in a second,
Right.
but
Yeah.
to get Geddy Lee good, you have to know what you're doing. So I didn't know that when I started playing the bass. I used to be the guitar player in Hollow,
Yeah.
and all the songs are my compositions, including the riffs and stuff. So what
Okay.
happened is that when we lost our bassist, we had to find a replacement.
Uh-huh.
And trying to find a replacement for guitar was much easier. So, we found another guitar player that didn't stay long in the band, and I kind of demoted myself because I said, you know what, I'll take the hit. It's my band,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's the best thing I've ever done.
And so you actually enjoy playing it, even though it's not your original
Oh,
instrument.
I enjoy it way more than playing guitar, because it's a like I said, it's got a lot of things to it. Like the easiest and the fastest way I can explain the
Uh-huh.
difference between bass and guitar is that the bass, it's all about the right hand. It's the pop, it's the slap,
Yeah.
it's the little muted notes in between notes,
Yeah.
while your left hand stays, more or less, okay, in small. It's got four strings, if you're playing your four string bass.
Right.
And the guitar, it's all about the left hand. You're going super fast. You're doing your sweeps, especially in technical music such as metal.
Hmm. Yeah. Yes. And so it is technique. That's the thing that makes a good bass player, you
It's the
think?
groove, man. It's the groove.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now, are your roles the role of your instrument, the bass? Does it play different roles in Hollow versus Carchaos?
Oh yeah, it does. Hollow has only one guitar player, so there's a lot of room I can fill with my bass. It's
Yeah.
easy to, put too much, as well as it's easy to just say, you know what, I'm just gonna be in the backbone and not shine at all and just keep keep a groove. Carchaos has two guitar players. It's a very standard kind of composition wise. It
Yeah.
follows a more poppy structure. Well, it depends on the songs, obviously, but it follows a
Right.
structure that is great. It gets all the masses going and everything, but it follows a specific structure. It doesn't have a lot of experimentation. On Hollow, on the other hand, it's a musician's kind of music. Hopefully more than just musicians enjoy it. I
Right.
believe that there's more to each song than just what your first impression of the songs are. Uh, but my bass playing is all over the place. I'm trying to go the
Right.
Geddy Lee approach on things, and do something that's odd, but it kind of works, and that's cool.
Hmm.
On the Carcass one, I'm just driving the song. You have to, sink in with the drums. You kind of play uh,
Right.
as a band, more togetherness.
I see. So in Hollow you are the spice, and in Carchaos you're more of the backbone. That's a great description you just gave there. Now let me ask you this, and you may have answered this in some form, but I want you to expand on it a little bit. as a bass player, what's your role in writing music? You said you play guitar and even trumpet and bass. What's your role in actually writing the music for the two different bands?
Well, Carcaos was a funny thing because my experience was only with Hollow playing bass before, So and it's my
Yes.
baby, it's my band. No one really tells me what not to do,
Right.
there's no limits, because it's my vision. So when I was playing that kind of music, I was trying to, uh, spice, like you said. I think you summarized it the best. In Carcaos, though, when I joined it, I tried to show off a little bit too much. It didn't work with the song, so I had limits that I had to respect, and they were imposed on me. The thing is, though, when I joined the band, a month later, we went into studio recording. So I only had a
Right.
month to experiment and to try and find a sound
Yeah.
for Carcaos. So,
So you still don't know what your real role for Carchaos is going to be, do you? So
oh,
you kind of get in there.
we played enough shows so that I can actually, I'm very proud of the recording. Like I said, I wish I had more time, obviously,
Yeah.
But at the
It's a
same,
great album.
thank you. But at the same time, I'm very, very proud of it. The whole album, the whole groove of it. I did
Uh-huh.
experiment on a couple of things, but like I said, it was the first time writing with limits, with set limits, and it was as a composer, that was a challenge. That was
Yeah.
very interesting to do.
Yeah. So, did you do any of the lyric writing? Did you write all the lyrics for Hollow, or is that a compilation between you and some other members of the band?
Well, the way it worked, I have only one song that I have written lyrics
Hmm.
about. It's called Vlad, and it's got many layers. Vlad used to be my best friend growing up. We bonded
Uh-huh.
over ice turf. We got together. This whole band started out with me and him. He
Right.
disappeared at the age of 19, and he was found dead. There's no more information than that. And so that kind of,
Wow.
yeah, it kind of, made me continue Hollow as in memory, in loving memory of Vlad. And
Yeah. What?
so so you know
That's an awesome, loving tribute, man. The song is great. It's got that slow start out, and it has the many layers.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
see, Vlad, that's the thing. It's still, a hard thing to talk about, but Vlad,
sure.
when we got together, we decided he was a Romanian guy, right?
Hmm.
And he was all about Vlad Tepes, Vlad Dracula. That was his fun little
Right.
little thing, and we decided to write a song called Vlad about Vlad, right? So
Yeah.
there's like 3 levels of Vlad in that song, and I wrote the lyrics and I kept them. Everything else, though, it's kind of I work with my singer. I impose a subject matter, and he kind of
Uh-huh.
does his research around that, and he spins these crazy, crazy lyrics. Very talented guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great story about your friend, man. It's an awesome, awful tragedy, but it certainly is an awesome song and an awesome tribute.
Thank you, man.
All right. So, talk to me about being in the two bands, Eddie, a little bit. Not necessarily the music, but what's good about it and what's challenging about being in two bands, or actually three now with Bane.
Yeah. Well, it is a challenge. It's also a lot of fun, right? And it gives you
Uh-huh.
gigs. It gets you. It gives you a certain name also here in Montreal. Hopefully elsewhere as well. It's fun. You're doing what you always did. The thing is, you kind of end up juggling in between things.
Uh-huh.
And also it's just a lot of running around. But
Yeah.
my kind of personality, I like this challenge. I like running around, and um, like I said, I like this challenge, I guess.
Well, excellent. Now, you are in Montreal, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then Carchaos, are they in Montreal also?
Yep, yeah, we actually share the same locale. My Carcaos and Hollow were in the same place, and we're all friends.
Oh, cool. Okay. Excellent. Well, that's not that much of a challenge then. It's just all the craziness involved. Now, I don't care about the details. I'm not looking for dirty. I just want to, are there like jealousies in the band, like where people say, you need to be here more, or, do you run into stuff like that?
Oh, no, no, no. When you're a professional in anything that you do, if you say you're there, or you say, look, this is, you kind of show a contract. You say, look, guys, I'm gonna
Oh,
be only be able to do this once every 2 weeks. They accept it.
right.
There's no jealousy after that. I mean, and we're very professional people, all of us, and we always do what needs to be done. And the heart's there, you know, everyone's friends with everyone. Of course, you know, it's a business and we're business partners first and
Uh-huh.
foremost.
Yeah.
But we also have a mutual respect between everyone. And it's not
Yeah, that's
music shouldn't be a competition. Music is all about being, you know, together and pushing forward the limits of what music can be.
man, that's a great answer, and you know, and it's very cool and says a lot about you that you can work with such great people like that. And the Canadian metal scene is amazing. I think it's one of the hottest metal scenes on the planet right now.
Oh, it's crazy. It really is. We have where I live downtown, we have like 6 bars in 5 minutes in any direction, and they all play loud music. It's a common thing here, you know. It's very interesting.
Excellent. I'd love to be in a place where 6 bars play metal. That'd be great. Let me ask you this: not necessarily musically. You've already talked about it. What's the biggest difference between the bands, the personalities of the bands?
Well, we have a front woman actually in
Yeah.
Carcass, and we also have a front woman in Hollow. No, I'm kidding, but
I was going to say
singers,
that
man,
woman looks an awful lot like a dude to me.
it's the mustache, man. No, it's singers. Singers are all the
Yeah.
same. Moving on.
Yeah.
the the personalities is that we're only Hollow has been with me since, like I said, high school years. We all know each other. We all hate each other. We're all tired of each other. You know, we're
Sure.
brothers. It's like the closest
Yes.
thing to a family. Carcaos, we've been together for a year. We're still kind of, you know, finding a balance between everyone, and but we're enjoying everyone's company. You know, we're there to stay. But there's also 6 people, you know, and six
Yeah.
people that have jobs, school, work, whatever. You know, gathering together in the same place. The heart is
Yeah.
there, but it's very hard to keep 6 people motivated all the time. Same thing with 4 people. So I
Right.
guess the biggest difference is the number of people and the number of personalities and egos, I guess.
I see. Yeah. Now I saw where you said you finished your homework. You are you in school currently? Is that a question you want to answer? Or?
Yeah, you saw that on my Facebook.
I did.
It's spying me. Yeah, I'm in school. I'm my last year, and I'm done.
Light at the end of the tunnel is always nice.
Yeah, a couple of weeks, man. Wish me luck,
Excellent.
all of you.
I could definitely. Now I also saw on your Facebook where you said you got out of a speeding ticket with your boobs. You want to explain that one a little bit, or are we just going
Oh
to go
my
on?
God, it's not a true thing. It's
I
you receive
yeah, I
a
didn't
chain
figure.
you receive a chain email, you know,
Yeah,
reporting breast cancer, I think, and you have to
that's
write
cool.
something like that. It's a Facebook thing.
Yeah, I saw that. I said I can't leave that
I
one. I've
could.
got to
I'm
harp
pretty
on it a
enough
little bit.
to you know, I'm pretty enough to do that, but it didn't happen yet.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable answering that question right there. So, but that's cool, man. Let's talk about metal again. Now, metal's blown up recently. It's actually kind of come back around full circle from the 80s, and the shrapnel comes in all shapes and sizes. You got power metal, death metal, melodic death metal, thrash, symphonic metal,
Oh,
deathcore,
I see where you're
some
going. I see.
yeah, some soon to be named categorized core. Um, where do you see metal going, and all the different brands and styles of metal? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, listen, I'm as much as I'd like to say I'm a fervent believer that metal should be just metal. There's a
Uh-huh.
anthropological need for human beings to categorize everything. It's been like that's been the truth in any you know, form of art since the beginning of time, you know.
Right, right,
You can see a painting and you say that belonged to Cubist era, you know. It's everyone
right.
categorizes everything. Um, so unfortunately, I kind of have to find a category for Hollow, for example. It's very hard to categorize because um, it's got lots of influences from different, you know, genres of music. There's
Right.
there's a lot of Mastodon. There's a lot of symphonic elements. At the same time, we wear the makeup that's super black metal, but our music
Uh-huh.
is recorded and structured like death metal. It's got different vocals,
Right.
you know, and it's very hard to categorize. But if I had to categorize, I guess it's symphonic black metal. That would be the
Symphonic black metal.
yep.
Okay. You know, you just made my partner very happy. He categorizes everything. I must not be human because I don't have that need to categorize. But I'm not saying I'm always right about everything either. I mentioned it was death metal, and you said black metal. And you think the difference has to do with the costumes or the sound of the music,
It's
or
it's the
both?
mood. It's actually we're hollow because, well, especially black metal. Any black metal has the mood they create live. You don't go on stage wearing your pajamas and your favorite band's shirt and you play.
Right.
You create a mood, kind of an otherworldly experience. Death metal, on the other hand, is very respectable for the technical abilities of
Uh-huh.
the musician. So he can go in pajamas, no one cares. As long as he plays like he blows everyone away. And
Right.
and those two genres, for example, all my the death metal friends, they hate
Yeah.
black metal because they said, well, you rely more on moods and atmosphere instead of
Uh-huh.
physicality, and vice versa. The black metal guys usually say the
Right.
same thing about death metal, saying that it's kind of boring to see a guy look at his neck the whole of the show. So there's
Yeah.
there's no need to categorize. Just look at everything around you. Look at all the weirdest bands with,
Yeah.
freaking listen to swing and try and incorporate those elements into your music. Try to make something. Push the boundaries of music. That's what you should do. You should strive to do art. You can do whatever you want. You can say you're doing death metal, melodic metal, non-melodic metal, but try to do something that's your own sound. And
Right.
that, to me, is very important.
Cool. So you find growth as an artist extremely important.
Of course, and also a what's the there's a pastiche, I guess that's the word I'm looking for. There's a lot of people imitating people, right? Even including in
Yes.
visual arts. How
Uh-huh.
many landscapes can you see, right?
Right.
But the first person who did it, he's always going to be the one that's going to be remembered because he created the art. He created something from absolutely zero, and
Right.
that is what I'm trying to do with Hollow.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. A compliment, it's a compliment coming from me anyway, is that I see elements of both of what you're talking about. I see the technical musicianship in your bass playing, the guitar playing, and I also see the black metal part of it, the mood and the attitude. So I think you have accomplished what you set out to do with Hollow.
Thanks. That's actually a very good compliment. We try, and we're not writing for the public because that's the question any musician should ask himself. Are you writing for a public's demand, or are you
Right.
imposing your style of music and creating a demand?
Yeah, yeah.
Hard.
Excellent. That's a worthy goal. Let me ask you this. Where do you see metal heading, and where do you see your metal heading in more particular?
I don't know. I really don't know. I guess metal is becoming more and more popular. There's more acceptance. Even on radio, there's a couple of bands that you can hear screaming.
Yeah.
So I guess the distortion and heavy guitars and heavy double bass drumming is more and more accepted in the world. So I guess metal is going to be more supported by a lot of formats. So that will push the boundaries of metal even more because once you have support, you can
Yeah.
experiment even more. So I'm guessing it's a good thing.
Excellent, excellent. All right, let's move on to what I like to call the lightning round, Eddie. And this is just, I want to ask you a few questions, and you just give me your first initial one word, one sentence answer off the top of your head. How's that?
Uh-oh. Okay.
That's easy. Who's your bassist icon? Who's your hero?
Cliff Burton.
Cliff Barton, excellent. Bass solo, take one. Who's your band icon?
I surf.
Iced Earth, excellent. How do you get up for a show if you're having a bad day?
Uh, I just get up because it's a show and it's fun, and you can't even call it work. It's just awesome.
All right. So do you find that the show gets you up?
The show gets you up, man. Having even 5 people in front of you that are just screaming because they're having a good time is a cool feeling.
Excellent, excellent. Do you believe in ghosts?
Nope.
Okay. How long does it take you to put on your hollow makeup and gear?
Me personally, it takes I guess 25 to 30 minutes. The whole band about 3 hours if we have the time to do so.
Yeah, is that makeup paint you put on
It's
there, or
airbrush. We're working with Bob Skelton. It's a Montreal artist, and it takes about 3 hours every show. So we sacrifice a lot of time. We sacrifice a
Sure.
lot of, time that we could use, to eat. We're sacrificing that every single show, and we hope that people notice that and appreciate the extra effort.
Well, you can eat human flesh later during the show, is what it appears to be. Yeah, I was hoping you say a magic word and are transformed into that, but apparently that doesn't work. Do the ladies dig bass playing zombies?
Ladies dig bass players. That's it.
Excellent. And tell us one thing most people don't know about you, Eddy.
I guess I'm Russian. That came out of the bag.
Yes.
What else? I also,
Oh, that was a good one.
yeah, it was a good one, right?
Yes, it was a good one. Well, then let's move. Let me ask you this: is there anything that you've ever wanted to be asked in an interview and haven't been asked yet?
Um, Honestly, not really. I'm pretty open to all questions. I really want to speak honestly about the music industry and how you feel, and this interview was awesome, by the way. Thank you so
Uh-huh.
much, man.
Thank
Because
you.
I got to talk about how I feel about, where music is heading and what an artist should do and what's the difference between someone who's a real artist and someone who's imitating and they're, just to reap the rewards for a couple of years and disappear. There's always going to be imitations,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
doesn't mean they're bad, but they're not
Right.
here to stay. So I got to talk about that. So that was I guess I was longing for that question.
All right. So, Eddy, tell us what's up and coming with both Car Chaos and Hollow, if you will.
Hollow is releasing an album, our first album since our EP in 2010. It's
And the
been,
name of that is
yeah, More Drake, and it's going to be
Mordred.
released in May, and it's been a long, long time coming. It's been a lot of effort, and we went through a couple of studios to record this. We went through a couple of personnel changes. I joined. I started playing bass, so it
Yeah.
took a long, long time. But this is gonna be my love child. So I'm
Yeah.
very proud and happy to release it finally. Um,
Well, let me tell the listeners real quick. I've heard a little bit of the promo material for that album, and it's freaking awesome. And you're going to need to get that as soon as it comes out. What about Car Chaos, Eddy?
Carchaos has a show for a little competition called En route to Heavy MTL. We're
Uh-huh.
going to finals. It's gonna secure us a place to play at North America's largest heavy metal festival called Heavy
Excellent.
MTL here in Montreal, and
Excellent.
hopefully we're gonna win that one and have a really good time at the Heavy MTL.
Let me also recommend to the listeners that you pick up the new Car Chaos album, Empire, which is already out. And you can get that at their site, which I'm going to let you say here in a minute. So, well, let's just do that. Where can fans get merchandise and music for both Car Chaos and Hollow, Eddy?
Carchaos.com and hollowofficial.com. Carchaos.com is already running. Hollowofficial.com is going to be running in the next couple of days. All the
Okay.
information is going to be there, but in the meantime, you can go and check us out on Facebook or YouTube or all the social medias. You just can't win with those. You have to be on them.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do.
So Facebook.com, Hollow Canada. You'll find us. Say hi. We don't bite, even though we look like it.
Yeah, you kind of look like you bite, but that's cool. We'll have those up on our Facebook page as well, on the Great Metal Debate page. Well, listen, thanks, Eddy Levitsky of Hollow and Car Chaos, and thank you to our listeners. I want you to keep listening. On our next session, Gomthog and I debate, argue, and quite possibly fist fight about something called Opposite George Metal Day coming up.
Right on.
And
Thanks, Brian.
thanks, Eddy. I really appreciate it. It was a great interview. Hey, let me just take a second and personally thank you for sharing that very personal story about Vlad. I think sometimes we don't get that kind of stuff when we hear about musicians. So excellent job, excellent interview, and just thank you.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
All right, cool.